football fans. Welcome to the Onside Kick. My name is Ricky Widmer, and as always, I'm joined by Dave Oster.
Hey, guys.
And Mark Weber.
How's it going?
How you guys doing today? This fine Sunday afternoon we're recording the podcast.
Well, it's a little hot outside, Ricky.
It is.
A little bit warm.
Yeah, but it's nice in here. This is the perfect time where you turn on that air conditioning and you never leave the house. All we need now is some football to watch, and life is perfect.
Well, I was actually, funny you say that. They had the Notre Dame-Michigan game on the Big Ten Network yesterday.
That's not a real game.
It's not a real game
Those
unless it's
aren't live
NFL.
football.
Those aren't real teams.
They aren't real teams.
No, that's the
Michigan,
minor
Notre Dame aren't real teams to you.
I don't watch minor league football.
Okay, you don't watch college, but getting to the NFL, we got some great
I
topics
just don't
today
watch
on the
crappy Big
podcast.
Ten teams, Ricky.
Oh.
I couldn't agree more. Michigan is a very crappy Big Ten team.
There's only one Big Ten team worth watching.
Who?
Ohio State.
The Ohio State University. But we got some great topics for you guys today on the cast. We've got Johnny Manziel, more Johnny football, Sean Lee's injury and how that could affect the Cowboys, and then we're going to be talking some playoff droughts and if they could end. But guys, first off, Johnny Manziel, Kyle Shanahan, who's the new offensive coordinator for the Browns, says that he's very similar to a quarterback Kyle Shanahan used to coach in RG3.
And I want to know, does that mean that he's angry? Like, because, Daddy told me not to like that guy, so I better not like this one either. To comparison, I wouldn't have thought of, really, honestly. But, I mean, they're all mobile quarterbacks. They all have similar play styles. They all do the same kind of things, and they all have injury issues looming over them because they get hit so much. And to me, that's the main comparison in my eyes is Johnny Football going to have his legs fall apart, in a playoff game like RG3 and not be able to come back?
See, and that's the first thing I thought of. When I heard they're very similar, the first thing my mind went to was, so we can expect Johnny Manziel to not make a full season.
Yeah, I think that's a bit brutal of you guys. I mean, I just think that it means they're both mobile quarterbacks, which I wanted to just kind of toss out there. Not all mobile quarterbacks are the same. Like, you can't say Cam Newton is similar to Russell Wilson and Colin Kaepernick just because they're all mobile quarterbacks.
Or even look at Michael Vick.
Yeah, exactly. And they all have their own play styles that lend more towards one way or the other. So I think the fact that he's talking about Manziel and RG3 would probably be arm strength and the fact to make plays rolling out of the pocket. That's one thing I saw between the two of these two. It was like identical.
Well, going kind of off of what Dave is saying here, I think you look at these quarterbacks. I'm going to take Russell Wilson out of it because I think he's kind of the exception to this rule.
He can just run around the backfield for like days and then just chuck it up there, touchception.
He's got a great team. But I think when you think of, let's all the way back to Michael Vick, known for running. Early on in career, it's not until later that he became a passing-first quarterback, and that didn't last really that long.
Due to injuries. Yeah,
exactly. RG3, another guy, he made a lot happen with his legs off the bat. That's what made him so dynamic. Colin Kaepernick, we, here in Chicago got to see that first game of him just running all over our team. Cam Newton, what did he do immediately once he got to the league? Ran all over everybody. No one he was one of the first of this new wave of mobile quarterbacks.
He's so big, too.
So I think the thing for these mobile guys is they get to a point where they run around a lot, and then they have to get to that Colin Kaepernick point that he was just at of, okay, I have to pass the ball now.
Right.
Because I'm going to die out here if I don't pass this ball.
It's not a sustainable strategy to keep up.
And in a situation like Colin Kaepernick, there was some transitional pains to that. And I think for Johnny Football, obviously he's going to run around a lot, and he might get hurt.
Well,
does he get to that point where he makes the change?
I kind of feel like, to me, when maybe it's because of when I first got into football as a child, but when I think mobile quarterback, my mind just snaps back to Michael Vick with the Atlanta Falcons. That was really, unless you guys think differently, our first exposure to a real mobile quarterback
one that they
through
let
our
play.
fandom. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Randall Cunningham and Dante Pepper to a lesser extent. I think Michael Vick was the first one who truly just absolutely beat you on the ground left and right.
And I think Johnny Manziel, where I'm going to come with this, how he's going to be the most dangerous is he's got to use both his arm and his leg, but he has to be the type of quarterback where if he's scrambling or doing something, any play, it's like, oh crap, what's he going to use, his arm or his leg, and just make the defense guess wrong.
Well, you basically just described mobile quarterback in theory.
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying basically he has to be the kind of prototype of the mobile quarterback.
Well, because, RG3, you said Cam Newton, they came out of the league, and all they were doing once they got here was run, run, run. Well, teams got used to that. They go to the pass, and I feel like that prototypical image of a mobile quarterback, that's what you got to shoot for, or else you're not going to be successful unless you're a pocket passer.
I think you shoot for the opposite. I think you go towards Russell Wilson. He runs to survive and buy himself some extra time. And I remember watching Manziel in college days. He would do loops in the backfield
against Alabama.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Runs into his lineman.
I mean, and it was every game. He just extends plays so long. I think he is going to be smart. I think especially with the help of his coaching staff, so he won't go through that early growing pain of, I'm going to put my body out there and think I can out-athleticism some of these NFL pros.
Well, and one of the quotes looking at what Kyle Shanahan said in depth, and this is the one I like the most, you have to have some magic swagger to you that you can get the job done. And Johnny demonstrated that as good as anyone who's ever played college football, and we think he'll be able to carry it over.
I mean, you certainly hope so. I think you kind of aim for the Russell Wilson technique, I guess, of having a good team around you, not having to get everything done yourself. Because what makes Russell Wilson so effective is, honestly, he's kind of the last thing you expect to have happen. And that's what the mobile quarterback's all about. Everybody else is covered. I'm your last thing that you forgot to cover.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to run. And for Russell Wilson, he can buy that time in the backfield as he turns his back to his wide receivers and just runs around like crazy. But that's what Dave is saying. That's what Johnny Football was doing so well before.
In college.
So if they can mimic what made the Seattle Seahawks successful.
Which I believe they can, because this is a Cleveland team who had 5-6 Pro Bowlers on their defensive side in the past. I mean, they're pretty good on defense.
Well, and the one thing I also think about that quote that I just read from Kyle Shanahan, that's not a quote that you say as an offensive coordinator when you're talking about your backup. And I say that because the Cleveland Browns did tell Johnny to start thinking like a backup.
And yet take those first snap teams. Don't worry about
the
that.
first reps in OTAs. Yeah, take those.
Well, Hoyer's the starter, apparently.
Right, but he's practicing with the second stringers.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Well, the thing is, Hoyer's got to learn to play with guys not that good, so that way when everybody gets injured and falls apart, he's playing with.
He's already got that relationship built up.
Well, then he'll just get injured, and then Johnny Manziel can come in.
Yeah, and then what's Johnny gonna do? None of my guys I practice with are out here. None of them are healthy anymore. But yeah, it's just, for me, the comparison I think is a little...
I don't agree with it entirely. I think production-wise, his rookie year, RG3 had a phenomenal year. He was absolutely a star. And maybe that's what he's trying to channel into Johnny. But I think as far as an overall player evaluation, I don't see it on the same lines. And that, I mean, he is a coach who's been watching NFL, living NFL. So... my opinion doesn't carry the same weight, but I just don't see maybe what exactly he's going at.
Well, I just think the comparison is just it's almost a little duh, because you're basically describing that mobile quarterbacks are going to play like mobile quarterbacks. And, I mean, there's not really too many exact similarities between the guys, other than they run around, they both get hit a lot, and they're going to throw the ball deep, when things break down. That's kind of what mobile quarterbacks do. So I think it's a little kind of obvious, honestly.
I'm going to throw something out at you guys, and you tell me what you think. One of the comparisons, I know this is not where Shanahan was going at all, but I just thought of it. When RG3 first came into the league, there was, every time he took the microphone, everyone was just sitting there like, okay, what's he going to say now? Because usually with RG3, he was going to say something stupid. That was the thing. Not stupid as in like, you're dumb, but like, maybe shouldn't have said that. But with Johnny Manziel, it's different in the case where, he goes to Vegas and he's partying too much, and he's not going to be able to focus on football.
Is he really partying too much?
Let me ask you this question:
can one party too much?
In a quarterback, which do you see will be? And I know Johnny Manziel hasn't. We haven't seen this come out
in a game.
with quarterbacks, would you rather have the quarterback who maybe cannot talk to the press that well, or the, hey, I'm going to go to Vegas when the locker rooms are closed and I need a weekend?
But he can talk to press when he needs to. He can make himself look amazing when he wants to.
I mean, I think that comparison's kind of, no offense, but I think that's kind of dumb too. I mean, think about Cam Newton. What was Cam Newton known for doing? Pouting.
Yeah, no, his reputation is not held among any good regards among the entire league.
Basically, you have all these type of guys who, might not have the best, press conference or best rapport with reporters, but it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, remember, these are young kids, too. I mean, they're early 20s, just coming out, being handed millions of dollars, and being given the reins to an entire franchise right off the bat. It's a lot to, keep you grounded.
And even talking about, like post-game press conferences, though, I mean, there's no rules to how it needs to be done unless you're in the Super Bowl, Marshawn Lynch style. But think about Belichick. He's not going to answer a single question. Think about Jay Cutler. Everybody hates him when he's up there. Mm-hmm. And then you have the opposite of, like, Peyton Manning. Everybody loves Peyton Manning when he's up there. There's no really way that it needs to be done or should be done for the NFL. So I think if I'm a team, I'm not concerned about how my quarterback, interact with the media. Now, if, all these distractions going on, we see, it's 2 a.m. Saturday, we got a game at noon, and I see Johnny Manziel
party at the Goat House?
Well, posting on Instagram pictures of him with all these really hot girls and stuff. I'm like, boy, get to sleep. What are you doing? We have a game.
No, man.
Literally in 10 hours.
No, Mark. It's always a party at the Goat House, BMS style.
And that's kind of one thing I thought of, too. We were talking about this before, and we're talking about Johnny Manziel going out to all these clubs and stuff. If I'm an opposing team, he's in my city right now, I know where he's partying, I'm paying somebody to go there and distract him for hours. Because why the hell not? There's no rule against it. You hire somebody to distract him. Buy him some drinks. All right, maybe some women to just kind of keep his eyes busy, not looking at the clock when he needs to go. Or, celebrities.
Do you think he's looking at the clock anyways?
Probably not, but you never know. He might be thinking about what time he needs to go to sleep. But get some celebrities, local team celebrities who are into the team, get them to distract. We know he loves celebrities. Every other picture is a picture of LeBron James. So I think this is what you got to do to kind of distract
King football in Cleveland?
Yeah, pretty much. But I think just distract him in this way if you can, because why not? If you know he's going to be out at the club anyways, send some people over there to make him go to sleep late or maybe be hungover for the game.
Let me throw this at you. A little bit more onto the football field is I'm looking at that RG3 rookie season, and it was the year, Dave, like you said, where he threw for over 3,000 yards. The big things that I'm seeing, he also had an 1,000-yard rusher in Alfred Morris. He also had an 1,000-yard receiver in Pierre Garçon. And I look at this Cleveland Browns roster and I go, can Miles Austin be that 1,000-yard receiver because Gordon's not going to be there? And can Ben Tate be that 1,000-yard rusher to help out Manziel? Can they?
And do you think Manziel's also going to rush for 120 times, 800-something yards? I don't think so.
The thing I'm trying to shed light on here is that 10 and 6.
Situationally, yeah.
That 10 and 6 wasn't just RG3.
But to be honest, the offense was such a strong part of the Washington Redskins. The defense is such a strong part of the Cleveland Browns. That's going to put them in better situations. You don't need 1,000-yard receivers when your defense is keeping it within 6 points.
To even throw a point on that, they were saying the Browns OTAs that their new quarterback, Justin Gilbert, had some ice on his, I think it was his right knee. Should Browns fans be concerned about that?
I mean, you always got to be slightly concerned about these guys you're drafting. I mean, you're just putting a lot of faith in them being out in the field, being healthy, and first of all, being good. You don't know how anything's going to work out until they come out there, so just wait and see.
Yeah, these early OTA injuries really are devastating to see, too. I think the NFL, I mean, they've already gone to, the no real contact, no pads, they're trying to keep it as safe for the players as possible, and we still see big names going out.
Well, Dave, and that's a perfect throwover, actually, to our next topic.
Good job, Dave.
Sean Lee getting injured in OTAs on a non-contact drill. No ACL for Sean Lee.
Yeah, no, that's a huge loss for a team. Or is it? I mean, you got to think, this is a Dallas team whose defense really sucks.
I'm just saying, Clayton on ESPN, they asked him after the injury happened, what the new prediction for the Cowboys was. He went from 8-8 to 6-10 just because of the injury.
It would have been funny because he went from 8-8 to 12-4. But I mean, for the Cowboys fans out there, I'll say it this way: I'm excited.
Why?
Anything that can get my team lower in the draft, get a higher pick, and maybe get some of those higher ups, the one and only Jerry Jones, to kind of get a little shaken in their boots, make some changes finally, I'm happy about. Because as a Cowboys fan, nothing that is happening right now with this management, the way they handle things, and I say management in air quotes, nothing that they're doing right now is good and is going to get you anywhere.
Well, you got to think.
So you'd be excited that your season's over.
Well, yeah, basically, you're not gonna go win a Super Bowl. This team has all its money put into basically Tony Romo. There's just nothing good. What I'm hoping for is that there's enough being shaken up to where some changes are finally gonna happen. Maybe Jerry Jones is finally gonna realize I can't do this all by myself anymore.
And you see, that would be logically thinking about the situation. And on the other hand, we have Jerry Jones we're talking about. Him in logic, not so much.
I need to put more money into Tony Romo's contract right now.
Romo's going to end up with about $30 million the way he's been deferring contract money. I think they're going to owe him $30 million next year.
It's going to be incredible. They'll just, they'll give him another extension and defer it even
Yeah,
further.
I mean, eventually he'll be worth $50 million, and, the Cowboys will just okay, here you go. It's you and 12 other guys. You're playing both ways, But no, I think the whole problem I have with the Sean Lee injury is the fact that this is a Dallas defense who's played without him a lot already. So I don't see it as that big of a knock against them. They're not a great defense. Yeah, they're losing their play caller, their shot caller. He was a leader on that defense. But again, they're kind of used to it at this point. It was kind of like the Bears and Urlacher. It was like, okay, yeah, he's gone. But you know what? He was out for so many games where we already know what to expect out of our team at this point. So I think the impact on the team isn't as much. Yeah, it's still probably going to knock him down a game somewhere along the line, but the impact that a linebacker takes is different, totally different than a quarterback or a running back in this league right now.
Well, and I just kind of sit there, and the first thing I thought of, maybe it's because I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan, but okay, he's injured a little bit last year, only played 11 games, injured this year before even playing a regular season game. Should Cowboy fans be throwing out the injury prone in front of Sean Lee's name?
Absolutely. And it's a really sad story because he is extremely talented when he's out there.
And I'm looking at an article right now. It's from the CBS local in Dallas. Top 5 reasons not to panic after the Sean Lee injury. Here they are. Number 1, defensive line is better than last year. Cowboys record with/without him. Several players, Devontae, Hitchens, Lemon, ready for next step. Impact of Rob Marinelli, something you guys know about being Bears fans.
Yep.
And the secondary can't possibly be as bad as last season.
It would be impressive if they could be, I'll be honest with you. Bill, like I said, the defense sucked last year. They're going to be about the same this year. They're hoping for improvements.
You guys are Bear fans. You guys know what Rob Marinelli brings to a team. Can he help the Cowboys without Sean Lee?
And you got to remember, they lost Ware, too, in the offseason.
True.
So, I mean, the 2 big leaders of that defense gone.
Yeah. But is just having Marinelli over Monte Kiffin a good step for the Cowboys without these 2 players?
Was checked out already.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good step, but you got to think about what the Cowboys need for
he can't play for them.
Yeah, for the Rod Marinelli defense to work out, he needs a strong front 7. What do they not have in this Cowboys defense, especially with this injury to Sean Lee? They don't have a strong front 7. So you're not going to get pressure on your quarterback, and then you're putting these corners and safeties
who are underperforming already.
Very dangerous situation. There's nothing about this Cowboys defense that I feel positive about. I mean, certain parts of it are better, sure, but it's still not at a position where I'm comfortable and confident in their ability to go out there and get it done.
They're still in the back half of in the league of defenses, just strictly speaking stat-wise. I don't think they're going to break 20th in the league in defensive stats. It's just not going to happen realistically unless we have a breakout season.
Well, and one of the questions, this is coming straight from NFLSpinZone.com. Should the Cowboys switch to the 3-4 because of the injury to Lee?
I don't like it. I think that you have to build around or scheme around your future as a team. And personnel-wise, just because you lost Ware and Lee, I don't think you should just flip a switch. I think you play to what you have and what you want to build up. So, I mean, in the end, it's still up to Marinelli, but I feel like it would be smart to, go ahead. This year's whatever already on defense. So, like Mark, you were saying, bad record, no problem. Go up, get a good draft pick, get somebody who's going to be a standout, build around them.
See, and I sit here, and maybe it's the fan in me, like, even though I'm not a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, just being a fan, I try to look at it if it was the Vikings. And let's say Adrian Peterson gets injured, OTAs, and everyone's like, oh, your season's over. Oh, at least we'll get a better draft pick. I'm sitting there going, but the season hasn't started yet. There has to be something that how we can make the playoffs. And I sit here, and with this Cowboys team, I think Tony Romo now has more pressure to make the playoffs because the Cowboy fans aren't going to have the mindset you talked about.
I just want to go back to one little point regarding that the swap I thought about, and I'm like, wait, so we're going to swap to a different defensive scheme without our shot caller out there. So we're going to count on somebody else to come in and lead them to a new scheme.
From what everything I'm hearing, Cowboys leaning towards bringing Ernie Sims back, who was on the team last year.
Yeah.
He played there when Lee was out, but what I was going with is Cowboy fans aren't going to have the mindset you have, Mark. They want to win now. They want to win now, especially with how close Romo has gotten, but then lost.
For the Cowboys, nothing has changed. The offense is what is supposed to lead this team. The offense is supposed to be better than other teams. Like when Tony Romo's going head-to-head with Peyton Manning. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what this team is built up to do. The unfortunate thing is that you have a lot of woes at the very end of fourth quarters. That makes them lose. But it's not just on this offense. The defense has to step up as well. But if you're a Cowboys fan, the one thing you're hoping for is the same thing you've been hoping for ever since Tony Romo first stepped out on that field, is that he leads this offense to somewhere successful and actually gets it done for once. That's what you're hoping for.
Yeah, and they're entirely possible, like we're talking. It's just it's going to depend a lot on Romo and how well he can carry them out. Des Bryant stepping up without Miles Austin in town anymore. So I'm really curious to see Widmer also carrying, the safety blanket.
Is not that good. It's never that good. It's very winnable for any of these teams. Even a Cowboys team with a horrible defense can still go out there and win.
Yeah, this could be a 9-win division winner.
Exactly. I mean, it could even be an 8-win if they all are just very, very mediocre like they all look right now. But probably not going to happen. But a team like the Cowboys, I think they easily could make the playoffs just pure offensively because Tony Romo's not a joke. As long as, as much as we all like to make fun of him and poke holes at it, but he can get it done. He can make these wide receivers look a little bit better than they are. And there's no reason why they can't have yet another, powerful offense with 4,000 plus yards for Tony Romo.
Easily.
Well, let me put it this way. You guys, in your little conversation, I heard 9-win season. Do you really think, let me put a percentage to it. What's your percentage that the Cowboys win 9 games? And can they win more?
Personally, maybe like 15%, 20%. I'm not very confident in the team.
You threw it out there, so why not put a percent to it?
Romo's done some miraculous things. I mean, he's played through injuries. He's just gone out there and slings the ball like, a Brett Favre of years past. I love using that comparison. So it's entirely possible. I just don't think they will.
Yeah, I think for percentage, if I had to put a percent to it, I'm probably going to go like 25% that they get 9 wins. I mean, I think when you get to, the 7 or 8 wins, you're getting more about 50%. That's definitely more likely for this team. I just think that when it comes down to it, this offense is going to the defense is going to put the offense in a lot of bad situations, and they're just going to be throwing nonstop, and it's hard to do that and win.
Well, and I'm going to bring something up, kind of transition us into our last topic of the podcast. Cowboys, 4 years since they've been in the playoffs. 2009 wildcard playoffs was their last playoff game.
always in contention, though.
Always right up to the last game of the year almost.
Yeah, and they just always get just knocked out by division
let's say the Cowboys do go 9-7, do they make the playoffs, or does that drought go to 5?
Well, I mean, it's going to obviously depend on all the other teams in their division. But for me, the New York Giants, as much as I like to joke about this is the Super Bowl year for them,
probably not.
It's not going to happen. The Redskins, I don't have faith in them.
RGIII bounce back here, meh.
I mean, it's definitely possible, and I don't. If it happens, I'm not surprised, but I don't see it happening.
Right, this division is looking like the Eagles to lose at this point.
Definitely. But the thing with the Eagles is, have people had an offseason to catch up? And if
Figure
they
out,
did,
yeah,
then it's very much up for grabs for the Dallas Cowboys to just go and take it. They can. I think if they get into the playoffs, it's more of a wild card situation, but there's a lot of good NFC
I tend to agree with you
teams.
there. Yeah, the NFC is very loaded up. That wild card spot is going to be fought. I mean, NFC West and North is going to clog it. Absolutely.
And going over top 5 teams with the biggest playoff droughts, not necessarily, but Gil Brandt at NFL.com believes these 6 teams are the top teams to end their playoff drought. He's got at number 1, the Buccaneers. 6 years since they've made the playoffs. Lovie Smith comes in. Do they end it?
Bold choice. I don't think they do. I think everybody seems to be
high on the Bucs.
Overestimating what Lovie Smith brings to this team.
Well, and not even that. Overcompensating what Josh McCown brings to this team.
That's true. I mean, it could be a fluke year. He had studly wide receivers, which... I mean, no knock on Vincent Jackson.
Some would say the second best receiving core in the NFL, Dave.
Some could argue that. I would disagree with them vehemently. But, yeah, you're kind on a backup quarterback to lead you to success. And I'm just not ready to be done with the other teams in the division. I think it's a total knock and almost an insult that you think that the Panthers are just done. I mean, yeah, they have no wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Cam Newton's still a very dangerous offensive
And what about
weapon.
the Saints?
The Saints aren't done by a long shot.
And the Falcons
can't be nearly as bad as they were last year.
I think the Falcons have a bounce back, and I think that the NFC South is going to be one of our toughest divisions this year.
I mean, I guess I don't know.
I said one of.
The thing is, the Carolina Panthers, as much as it pains me to say, they're going to be on a downfall probably because this is kind of a transition. They've had a lot of players going out, so they got to kind of refigure some things out. Atlanta Falcons, you hope that they're back, but we'll have to wait and see. Can't be as bad as last year, obviously. So, I mean, for me, it's just this division's the Saints.
And to complete Gil Brandt's list, he has Buccaneers at the top, Rams number 2, 9 years, Bills at number 3, 14, Browns and Raiders 4, 5, 11 years each, Jacksonville at 6 with 6 years. And out of these teams, the one that, I mean, after watching the little video that NFL.com had up there were some analysts that were like, oh, the Bills, they're going to do it this year. I don't know if they end the playoff drought because, yes, I know Sammy Watkins, great weapon on the outside. He told ESPN in an interview this week that just by working with the NFL coaches for like these 10 practices, he's gotten 100% better than he was in college. But me personally, I just don't feel like E.J. Manuel is going to be the guy to lead the Bills anywhere.
Oh, that's...
I said it. He's not going to lead them to the promised land.
I still remember back to E.J. Manuel's days with Gruden's camp. I loved watching him there. Fantastic young talent. I just think he's got to stay healthy, and I think he is the answer at quarterback for this Buffalo Bills team. He has a group of young wide receivers around him between Sammy Watkins, Robert Woods, and they brought in Mike Williams this offseason. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to see this team, and I think they could make steps towards being a wild card spot. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to crown them over the Patriots, but this is a team that definitely has a chance. I think a lot of it is going to end up riding on Fred Jackson. I mean, he's getting up there in age.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was injured last year a little bit, right?
Yeah.
The Bills had a lot of injuries, and that was kind of an issue. But, I mean, the Bills have been a team, for the past, 3 years now, everybody's saying, oh, the Bills are going to do it. This is the year they're going to end the playoff.
Nobody circles the wagons.
It always happens, and it never happens. So, I mean, I have some faith in E.J. Manuel. I'm still kind of waiting and seeing, though. Watkins, my thing with him is he's a fantastic athlete, and he's a guy you had to get on your team, especially if you're in a situation like the Buffalo Bills. But at the same time, what does he do? Screen passes. Okay. There we go. I figured it out.
No, that's what he did in college. They've been working with him in rookie camp, OTA.
Sure.
He's said in interviews that he's gotten.
Wait and see if he's going to be able to do it, though.
He personally thinks he's gotten 100% better just by working with the NFL coaches and doing things that he wasn't doing in college.
Did you see him at Florida?
But I mean, it's just one of these things where you can't really trust what the player's saying until we see it on the field. And I think Watkins will be fine, but I don't think he's going to be this huge standout.
And out of this list, I have a realistic, I think they can end the drought, and a team that just, it'd be the great headline.
Well, there's only one team in this entire list that has a
the Rams.
division that's winnable.
No.
No, no. I thought you were going to say end the playoff drought.
Oh, no.
I think the Rams are my team that they can seriously end the playoff route.
I kind of agree with
you.
The
one that would be the headline just because of the quarterback that could lead them there is the Browns.
So let's tackle the Rams first because you two seem to be so high on this Rams team. And I just look at a division that's going to beat them down left and right because of their lack of a confident quarterback.
I've said it earlier. I feel like there's a chance that the NFC West could have 3 playoff teams.
No, that's not going to happen. No, the NFC West is
playoff
a really
teams.
good division.
They could have 3 playoff teams, and not one of them would be the Rams.
No, it's going to...
I would keep the Cardinals out.
All right, gentlemen.
All right.
It's not going to be 3 from the NFC West. It's not going to happen.
It could happen.
It's not going to. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, as much as we enjoy the Cardinals in this room, they're going to be on a downfall a little bit. St. Louis Rams are going to be up a little bit, but it's that defense that's going to keep them in games. Unfortunately, I don't...
That pass rushes.
I'm not against
we don't
Sam
know.
Bradford.
Sam Bradford could have one more in the tank.
He might. I'm not against him.
Contract year.
And I'm not sure either.
I think his wide receivers are like top 2, top 3 in drop passes in the NFL last year. So he's not getting any help from his team.
This St. Louis Rams team is a team that needs a mobile quarterback. They got so much speed out there and a great defense. Imagine what they could do with a mobile
for breakdowns,
quarterback. Yeah, but I mean...
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? A little Marcus Mariota coming out of college next year?
I'm just thinking maybe they shouldn't have given up all them picks for RG3.
Definitely.
Well, they had a second overall pick. They could have taken any of the quarterbacks.
They could have had Johnny Manziel.
They could have if they didn't give up that trade. Or they didn't make that trade. But, I mean, hey, Mariota's in the future, maybe. Jameis Winston's in the future, maybe. There's a lot of things going on. But for me,
right now, that pressure is crazy.
Their defense is going to shut down, and they're going to, create havoc for the Cardinals, for the 49ers, for the Seattle Seahawks in their division. But that offense won't be able to put them above those teams. I think they will surprise. This is a team that anytime any good team is out there, this is the surprise team that can upset you.
See, I don't know. I feel like there's just a chance that the Rams, because to me, I feel like Seahawks and Niners, they're going to be a division winner wild card. I don't see them veering from the path. The Rams could be a team that could surprise people and slip into that last wild card. I'm saying could. I'm saying could. I'm not saying like
for the wild card spot.
Boom, put it down, hit the gavel, it's done. I'm saying it's a possibility.
I think once we get to December, they're going to be in discussion for it.
Because
along with the Cardinals, they're both going to be there, but I don't think either one of those teams really gets it done.
I will say, even though it pains me to say this, because I would love to say the NFC North, but I feel like the NFC West is going to be the toughest division because every team, the 2 at the top are already so good, and then the 2 at the bottom did make improvements enough
the bottom is
to compete.
Term for a 10-win team, but
no, I know, but it's still the bottom of the division because you have 4.
Right.
The bottom did make improvements enough to make it a competitive division. It's going to be the
Kenny
toughest.
Britt, they're obviously trying to improve that wide receiver core. The question is, does he have anything left mentally? Because he was just done in Tennessee. They didn't want to play him. He didn't want to play kind of situation last year.
Well, because Tennessee fans were saying, you got to be Britting me, Dave.
Oh, man. And then you got to hope Jake Long. I mean, what happens with him? Can he step in, be that left tackle that's the guy? Or if he lets down, you're in trouble. But I don't know. Those are the two big things that I see going forward.
What about the team that I said would be like if they make the playoffs, Johnny Manziel leads them there. Perfect headline.
I
the
think
Browns.
this is the team that out of this list, this is the team that's most likely to get into the playoffs. Mostly because that division's not that good.
What?
It's not that good
Really?
anymore. Who out of that league is better than mediocre out of that division?
I would still put the Ravens or the Steelers ahead of the Browns.
I wouldn't. And
And
my
to me,
thing.
the Browns. This is totally different than what we talked about the Rams. They're not making, and I'm talking about the Browns, are not making the playoffs unless they win the division because of
That's
how
true.
competitive
Well,
the AFC is going to be.
Really though, the AFC is a lot less competitive than the NFC.
There's going to be
AFC
two
West had 3 teams
teams.
in the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
There are going to be
it's
two
not-
teams that boom, they're going to
I
compete
think that
for their
the Browns
division.
Can get in through the wild card.
Really?
Well, I think they're most likely. They're my favorite to win that division. They honestly are, and I think they have the best defense in the division. Johnny Manziel as a rookie coming out there. What a mobile quarterbacks
What about the
that are rookies
Bengals?
do.
They have early success because teams can't figure them out.
Exactly. The Bengals. I mean, I might be a little stubborn on this, but I see them
Bengals
as
know how to make the
falling
playoffs.
star right now.
Well, the only thing that I'm thinking about the Bengals that'll hurt them is you lost your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator to coaching
And your
vacancies.
quarterback's not
When
that
your
great.
whole strategy was throw the ball to AJ Green, you don't really
Yeah.
need an offensive coordinator.
So I mean, you get a new offensive coordinator in there, and it might take some time for the not so great Andy Dalton to kind of get used to it, and we might start to see the flaws in his game.
Well,
But-
we are seeing the flaws. It's
Yeah.
just the fact that how much more can you expose him in the regular season? Because he has played well enough to win in his way into the playoffs, just performs horribly there.
Mark, I'm going to take your thought and raise it one bit. I feel like right now, to me, Cincinnati's my favorite to win the AFC North, but I'm going to go out here on a limb and say the AFC North is going to be a battle for Ohio this year.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, definitely, you got the two guys in there who are going to be competing for that top spot most likely.
But I mean, I
But
still
think one
like.
of the other team probably can get in through the wild card.
See, no, and I don't. The reason why I don't think the Browns are going to get a wild card is looking at last year's kind of who made it, who didn't. The teams that I feel like could slip in at a wild card, San Diego, because they're always known for going to take that last spot. The Kansas City Chiefs, we don't know if they're going to be as good as they were last year.
It'd be impressive if they
Two
were, but
are-
I don't
Yeah.
think it.
3, Houston, they could have a better season, and we just talked about them 2 seconds ago. What if Buffalo? You said Buffalo
think
would be the
Buffalo-
second team in that division.
I'm not believing that
So,
Buffalo gets
so
in the
let's put it this
playoffs.
way. But I'm going to throw out these teams: Buffalo, Houston, KC, San Diego, Cleveland. You got to pick 2. Who's your wild cards?
They're fighting. That's
out
close.
of those ones. Well, here I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking here. All right.
Okay.
Ready? The Bengals or the Browns are going to win that division.
Pick one. I
Well,
want to
hol-
pick one.
Hold on.
Hang
Let
on.
me do this. Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals. One of those two are going to win the division. The AFC South is going to be won by the Colts. All right. The Texans
Okay.
are probably going to be at least a wild card team. I think
Okay.
they
See,
will
I
have a
don't
good
even
bounce
know.
back.
I don't know if they will even.
I believe in that
I'm-
defense.
I just don't.
Well, new coach, new quarterback.
Now I'm going to say the only team from the AFC East is the Patriots.
Okay.
Everyone else is going to be very
Entirely
mediocre.
plausible.
Okay.
The Denver Broncos are going to be obviously the AFC West winners.
Yep.
Chiefs are not going to be anywhere near as good as they were last year.
Okay.
San Diego Chargers, they might be. They're probably a wild card spot. The other team that doesn't win
So,
the AFC North
so
is
out of
probably
what
the other
you
wild
just
card
said,
spot.
we have to pick between the Chargers, the Texans, and the Browns.
Yes, that's my thought.
Because I know you didn't give a North winner, but we're going to say Cincinnati.
Well, that's why I said the team that doesn't win that one is probably going to be the wild card.
And I mean, looking at this, I feel like Houston has got to have a better season. I mean, Arian Foster is going to be a lot better than he was in his
You
injury
got
season.
a disgruntled main wide receiver there, and Andre Johnson.
And you got to hope that
Yeah,
that
that's gonna-
quarterback fits magic.
Find,
and,
he's got to
get
find his
some
magic. Yeah. Oh.
And I mean, I look at,
Spectacular.
I don't know, I just look at the Chargers and I feel like they're that team that always, year in and year out, goes, no, not gonna make the playoffs, not gonna make the playoffs. Oh, we're right there, last
Yeah.
playoff spot.
I'll be honest. I was a huge fan of Chiefs last year, believer. This year, I don't think they'll be able to keep it going. I think Texans are going to be better, improved, obviously, but not going to make the playoffs. So I'm pretty close to you on that
So,
one.
yeah, you guys are just proving my point of
But-
the Cleveland Browns getting in there.
I think Bills and Browns stand a shot. I think the two of those teams stand their fair chance.
See, I would pick the Browns over the Bills. I don't think the Bills are going to go to the playoffs.
I think the Bills have a lot of young talent that is explosive, like absolutely breakaway talent. I mean, C.J. Spiller can bust one off anytime. You're adding in so many pieces to the Bills team. I really like these two teams. It's such a toss-up for me.
And then I'm just going to throw it out. The only teams on this top 6 from Gil Brent that we didn't talk about, the Raiders and the Jaguars down there at the bottom. Raiders haven't been there in 11 years, probably going to be 12, and Jacksonville going to make it 7 years, 7 straight.
It's a long time for both these teams, and I don't think either one of them are even really in discussion to get anywhere this year. These are both of the teams on this list, these are the rebuild teams, completely getting that rebuild right now. Which one of these teams do I feel better about? I don't feel good about either one.
Neither.
I say
because they're probably going to be at the bottom of their respective divisions.
I think I feel a little bit better about Jacksonville, more likely to get 4 wins.
More likely to get 4?
Than the Oakland Raiders.
What if Run DMC...
Well, Jacksonville had 4 last year, so I feel like I got to one-up you. They're going to get 5.
Okay.
They're going to do a little bit better, right?
What if Run DMC and Pocket Hercules both have a healthy year? Could you imagine how deadly that duo could be?
7
that
wins.
defies all logic.
Yeah.
7 wins at the most if that happens. And that would be amazing from the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, no, they deserve to have a parade in their city if they can pull off
a
7 wins.
7-9 season, and they're having a parade in Oakland.
Yes, I would justify that, but most likely you're going to get a washed-up shop who still throws picks and,
Pick
and 2
City.
injured running backs who are past their prime.
Little Twitter for you, Dave. # Pick City.
I mean, that's why I got to feel better about the Jacksonville Jaguars, because at least Bortles is a fresh face. It's something
He's
to
not
feel
going to
good
play.
about.
They already said that he's not going to play. He's going to learn the pro style offense.
Yeah, but when your team is losing every single game, it's really hard to say.
Okay, he'll play week
not
15
going to,
through 17.
I don't even say when we're at week 8, we're at the midway point, and we haven't won a game yet. I'm feeling very. It's very hard for me to keep telling people, no, we're going to keep sitting that top pick.
Mm-hmm.
That what was it, number 3 overall? We're just going to let him keep sitting there.
We're going to let him keep sitting.
It's really hard to do. It's really hard to do.
Well, that's going to do it for the Onside Kick this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Tell us what you agreed with, disagreed with, down below in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, that like button, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. All that down below. And as always,
You, Chris Conti.